Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Hello, Catholic pilgrims, and welcome to day 213 from our readings from St. Faustina's diary. So, sin is horrible. I bet you already thought that you knew that. However, we live in a culture and in a time when people are trying to make sin not only, accepted, but celebrated, fully embraced, fully tolerated. And so I don't know if many of us realize or fully understand just how horrible sin truly is. And so that's what we're going to talk about today in Notebook 3, numbers 1014 through 1020. March 12th, 1937. I saw the weariness of a certain priest, probably Father Sapotsko, for whom the Lord has traced out a hard and difficult road, but the fruits of his work are alive. May God give us many such souls capable of loving him in the midst of the greatest torments. I felt today how greatly a certain dying soul desired prayers. I prayed until I felt she had died. Oh, dying souls are in such great need of prayer. Oh, Jesus, inspire souls to pray often for the dying. March 15th, 1937. Today I entered into the bitterness of the passion of the Lord Jesus. I suffered in a purely spiritual way. I learned how horrible sin was. God gave me to know the whole hideousness of sin. I learned in the depths of my soul how horrible sin was, even the smallest sin, and how much it tormented the soul of Jesus. I would rather suffer 1,000 hells than commit even the smallest venial sin. The Lord said to me, I want to give myself to souls and to fill them with my love, but few there are who want to accept all the graces my love has intended for them. My grace is not lost. If the soul for whom it was intended does not accept it, another soul takes it. I frequently feel that certain persons are praying for me. I experience this suddenly in my soul, but I do not always know which person is interceding for me. I also know when some person has trouble because of something that has to do with me. Of this, too, I am inwardly aware, even though the distance that separates us is very great. March 18th, 1937. I have come to know that I have received a certain grace that brings me into great intimacy and communion with the Lord. He gives me to know his greatness and holiness and how graciously he lowers himself to me. He gives me an exclusive knowledge of his love for me and of how he is Lord of absolutely all things, and also of how he gives himself to a soul while suspending all the laws of nature. He acts as he wills. I understand the spiritual espousal of a soul with God, which has no exterior manifestation. It is a purely interior act between the soul and God. This grace has drawn me into the very burning center of God's love. I have come to understand his Trinitarian quality and the absolute oneness of his being. This grace is different from all other graces. It is so extremely spiritual that my inaccurate description knows not how to express even a shade of it. When people find out that I study sexual violence, and that's my line of specialty in the criminology field, people will often say to me that, oh, I would know a predator if I saw one. I could pick him out. And I always calmly say, because it kind of makes me mad, well, I have studied them for years, and I could not pick one out for you. And the idea is that a predator would be, this dirty, scary, smarmy guy lurking in alleyways, and he would just reek of predator all over him, and we would surely be able to figure him out. And that's not often the case. Often the case is that it's a person that we know that is a predator that, preys upon our children. It's somebody who oftentimes just looks very normal and you would never know. And so we fool ourselves into thinking that, we can protect our kids because we would be able to pick out a predator. And the thing is if predators really were, for the most part, creepy, dirty, smelly guys under bridges or in dark alleyways, we would never let our kids go around them. But predators know this, and so they present themselves in ways that makes them seem very kind, nice, acceptable, even welcoming. Oftentimes they're very charming. And so they break down through our barriers that we put up, and we let them in because, like I said, we think we would know. But we often don't. I mean, for me, as somebody who studies this, there are warning signs that I look for, but the average everyday person possibly doesn't know those things. So how does this relate to our topic today of sin? Well, Sister Faustina today is talking about sin, and she said that she learned how horrible sin was. God gave me to know the whole hideousness of sin. I learned in the depths of my soul how horrible sin was, even the smallest sin, and how much it tormented the soul of Jesus. So as I said in the beginning, we are at a point in our world, our culture, in our lives where sins are being forced upon us, and we're told that we have to basically love them, celebrate them, think they're wonderful. There's nothing wrong with them. Who are you to tell me what to do? Who is the church to tell me what to do? This isn't a sin. This isn't a sin. And it's kind of the same thing, I think. I think we believe that if it was really a sin, we would know, because we could look at it and it would look just terrible. But I look at this thing, it looks pretty good. I don't think it's a sin. Who are you to tell me it's a sin? And naturally, this is what Satan wants to do with sin. Satan doesn't present sin to us in a way that is horrific to us. He presents sin to us in a way that is almost pleasing sometimes. It comes into our life, seems pretty good, seems like it'll give us a lot of happiness, maybe some pleasure. It doesn't look all bad, and so we indulge, and then we like it, and then we want to keep doing it, and so we deem it not a sin. And I think we do that sometimes subconsciously. And so it's kind of the same thing with the predators. I think we believe that, I would recognize sin in a heartbeat. Yeah, sure. But this is where venial sin comes into play. The more and more that we stumble in venial sin, sometimes we can become very numb to it. And so, we do it more and more, and then it leads to a little bit more and to a little bit greater sin and a little bit greater sin and a little bit greater sin until we're faced with a huge mortal sin, and it doesn't look that bad to us anymore. And we think we would know. We think, oh yeah, if it was a mortal sin, of course I would know it. I wouldn't engage in it. But it gets packaged in a way that makes it look not so bad, because otherwise we wouldn't want to commit the sin. And so it's interesting that Sister Faustina is shown how horrible sin is, because a lot of times sin just doesn't look horrible to us. It just looks like something we want to do. It looks like something fun and exciting and pleasurable and comfortable. And so we don't even recognize how horrible it is, and it sneaks into our life and destroys it, just like a predator. And so that's why confession is so important. And, even if you don't have a mortal sin on your soul, going to confession can help you see, okay, I keep stumbling in this venial sin, and I maybe need some spiritual guidance. I can be very aware of this venial sin so that I don't move into a greater venial sin and then into a greater venial sin until it winds up being a mortal sin. We need to have it front and center, and we need to be very, very aware. One other quick thing. Years ago, when my husband and I were first married, we used to watch anything and everything on TV, especially when I was a teenager. I did not discern what I was watching at all. I watched anything, and just some really horrific things. But we decided as a family that we were going to turn off the TV and spend time doing other things. We have a TV. We like to watch, Kansas State football, Kansas City Chiefs, 49ers, and then also have, family movie nights and things like that. But for the most part, we don't sit down and watch TV. Whenever I go to somebody's house and they have the TV on, I am just kind of blinded by the things that are on TV, even commercials, because I'm not desensitized to it anymore. I am very aware of all the sin that is being shown because I don't see it all the time. And so, I have to ask, can we change the channel? Or I have to walk out of the room or turn off the TV because I just can't handle it. But other people don't see it. They don't see how horrible the sin that is being shown on the TV really is. And it all has to do with the way things are packaged and the way things are presented. We have to be very aware. So we do have a great help, and that is our sacrament of confession. So that is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I will see you back here for day 214. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.